mean, you're administering drugs to knock somebody out?
Yeah, you don't knock them out, but yes, you use the same kind of IV medications you would use if you had a colonoscopy. Make you a little sleepy, make you a little bit numb. I still think you're right. In other words, I am out there, right? I have made the decision that this is the right thing to do, even though in general in medicine you wait for the big trials to get done, for years of research. There's a term, it's called, are you an early utilizer or a late utilizer? Some doctors like to use a medication when it first comes out. Some like to wait a few years to see what people find out. So yes, in that sense, I would have to be called an early adopter.
Or a pre-adopter.
Well, no. So there's 2,000 patients treated around the world. Good people. Zamboni's an academic. He's only done 65 at the time of publication. He's only published 65, but he's done about 200. The guy in Poland, Simka, has done about 400. Kuwait, the whole government is behind this. There's apparently a rapidly increasing incidence of MS in Kuwait. They don't know why. So the government of Kuwait has mandated that everyone with MS gets this testing, and if it's positive treatment. So there's actually quite a lot of data. I'm definitely not the first one.
Well, let me ask you this. You're clearly very, very passionate about this. Does your emotional attachment through your son's MS, does that make you jump the gun? Does that make you more enthusiastic for this treatment than perhaps you should be?
I think yes. Here's another way of looking at it. What if he has a relapse? So he had the procedure done in May. So we just tested him again 2 weeks ago. What if on his repeat testing we had seen that his MS had progressed, had gotten worse? That would have been devastating for me. Now it hasn't happened, but now let's say we test him again in 6 months, test him again in a year, and we see new lesions. We see that his MS is progressing, that he's getting worse. That will be devastating for me. So in that sense, I am biased. I could be accused of excessive hope. That would be fair.
Well, I guess the real point is are your feelings for your son blinding you to the facts, to your medical responsibility?
Well, they're certainly not blinding me to the lesions on his brain, to the MRV results. By the way, we send our data to Heikki. Heikki is the guy who wrote the textbook on MRI. He literally wrote the 3-inch Bible. It's called the Green Bible. He's at Wayne State. We send our data to him. He analyzes the data objectively. We don't even tell him whether the patients have MS or not. So that's not my being colored. So then the catheter radiologist, when he went in, he found almost complete obstruction of Devin's jugulars. So that also is not subjective. Is not my.
That's fact.
That's fact. And then in terms of him himself, but he has no symptoms anymore.
But how do you know? How do you know that blocked arteries, or I'm sorry, blocked veins? How do you know that blocked veins have anything to do with MS?
Well, so first of all, is it okay to have blocked veins? So the real battleground ahead is not going to be MS. It's going to be other conditions. People are going to want to have their, people with fatigue are going to want to have their veins looked at. That's where we're going to end up. We're going to have to learn more about the venous system. And what are we going to do for someone who has clear obstructions of the jugulars, not objectively, factually obstructed, and their only symptom is fatigue? Or worse, what if they have Parkinson's or some other neurodegenerative disease? This is just going to be the beginning of this.
This sounds, the more I talk to you, the more this sounds like it's not necessarily even a treatment for MS. It's a treatment for anything and everything if you have blocked veins.
We need to know about this. We've ignored veins for hundreds of years. We don't even have names for a lot of the veins. So the veins in your hand are so variable, even on both sides.
So if it's about the veins and not necessarily the disease that's leading to this, causing this, do you treat more people than just multiple sclerosis patients?
I don't. I won't. In fact, my family is not happy about it because they think, hey, shouldn't other people be allowed to be evaluated? Just have their veins evaluated. But the multi-center trial, which is beginning across the country, there's someone at Columbia who's going to participate, there's people in Chicago and Florida, they're all going to be part of this. They're going to be allowed, through this national IRB, to refer in anyone who the doctor and the patient thinks might have a venous problem, not just MS. And so the reason we're doing that is we need to see the full range. You know, what's normal going to be? Should everyone over the age of 10 have their veins looked at? Of course not. But that's unknown yet, is how widespread are there poor venous drainage to the central nervous system. It's really 3 neurologists that are saying we don't like this.
Well, and the National MS Society.
Those same 3 neurologists. So the Canadian National MS Society, the neurologist who advises them is Mark Friedman. He has called this a hoax, called it quackery. The neurologist who wrote a letter to the editor of the Neurology Journal, he's called it a hoax. It's really 3 or 4 neurologists that are very prominent, academic neurologists, smart guys, very smart guys.
I mean, is it that these people don't want to treat MS, that they don't want to find a cure, or is it that they want proof? They want a scientific study done, and they don't want the word of perhaps an emotional father.
That sounds good to me. I'm all for that. I think the answer is they have been chasing the autoimmune theory for 50 years. They just cannot get past it. They don't know anything about veins. It's not part of their training. A whole new field, interventional radiologists who have been moving into medicine very rapidly. They've changed the treatment of many different disorders because you don't have to open someone up anymore. You can go into a vein in the groin and do it almost non-invasively. It's called minimally invasive treatment. And then they're saying, since it doesn't make any sense to us, even though there are several published studies in peer-reviewed journals, this is not like Laetrile where you go to Mexico and get crazy stuff, that we think there should be more study before we're going to pursue this. Well, so they're not going to pursue it. So I am pursuing it. I am collecting the data. I think I'm collecting it in an honorable way. This data will be available. It will be published. So I think I'm doing everything right. I'm doing it through an approved IRB. In fact, 2 approved IRBs. So, and you know what's interesting? I've not gotten any flack from my neurology colleagues at all. You know, I thought I'd get nasty phone calls. You know, I got a few phone calls from friends. They typically say, you know, I'm just very conservative. I'm going to wait a little longer and see what happens. But the patients are not going to wait. They are incredibly vocal. The internet is changing medicine in this area. They're all out there. One of the sites has 40,000 members. Another one has 25,000. They're all talking constantly. So they're going to demand that something be done. So what are they going to do? Are they going to keep having to go to Bulgaria? At the very least, they can be in a trial where their data is collected. We'll know what % get better or not. Right now, we don't even know how many are not getting better because no one's collecting it. At least we're collecting it.